Let's talk about the theory that this isn't actually Tessa in the spacesuit on Copper 9, but instead is actually Sin in a new form. My name is DroneCut, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned until the end of the video to see how you can win an autographed print from one of your favorite Murder Drones characters. Episode 6 opened with N, V, and Uzi running into Tessa alongside Jay and Doll. Tessa is excited to see N and dotes on him, but we see her do rather contradictory behavior later. When Tessa goes into the camp to find the elevator, she tells Jay to guard the ship, and she does so in a way that seems out of character to everyone else, and there is an awkward pause where even Jay is unsure how to react. Tessa treats her drones like family, and while the way she glomped N felt in character, I feel like it was a very easy act to put on. And I think we can see it's not truly Tessa by the way she treats the drones like Jay in the more casual moments. Tessa opens the episode by explaining that Sin disappeared, with Jay saying that Tessa straight up ran away from her. With a visual, Tessa explains that the goals of Sin were to build a special tower on Copper 9, and then get into the basement for something Tessa claims to be unsure about. The others are convinced by this reasoning, but Tessa clearly seems to be hiding something. Of course, as Tessa, this person is still hiding something, which is the supposed fate of the Earth and the necessary plans for Uzi and Doll. Later in the episode, Tessa reveals to N that the Earth was outright destroyed using a satellite feed of the Earth. Because of how destructive the Absolute Solver is, Tessa feels she must destroy Uzi and Doll and anyone else infected with this Absolute Solver virus that the two seem to have inherited. But I believe the footage of the Earth itself is fake and that it probably hasn't been destroyed. I think this is just part of Sin's plan to trick the others so that she can get into the basement and get what she is really after. Tessa plays coy when Uzi asks her about the basement and Doll's involvement, claiming that Doll believes some sort of digital sickness was manufactured there and passed on to her from her parents. Tessa of course already knows what she intends to do to Uzi, even telling N later in the episode that he needs to be okay with that sacrifice for the greater good. When asked what she believes, however, Tessa says that she thinks Doll is right, hiding how much she knows in a very cryptic way. She talks like she is taunting Uzi and trying to scare her about what is to come, as opposed to just trying to avoid the conversation so that Uzi doesn't have to worry about the plans that Tessa has for her. It's in this scene that we get the first of many shots with a heavy focus on Tessa's helmet. We can't see her face in there and instead see the reflection of the drone she is talking to each time. It reminds us that we don't know who is actually under the helmet, and the writers want us to know that. When revealing the fate of the Earth to N, Tessa also explains that this lab was trying to use the corrupt Absolute Solver to their advantage, but just created the witches, as Alice calls them in the episode, drones who maintain their worker persona while having access to the Absolute Solver powers, though over time it seems they corrupt further and further until eventually they are just like Sin. Tessa goes on to explain that what she really wants is the list of names of infected drones. In this story she's spinning, it's to stop them from becoming like Sin, but if she's actually Sin herself, she may just want the list of names to find out which of the drones she could assimilate or which one she has to get rid of. Uzi is perhaps the most rebellious worker drone there is, and without her, there is not much left in the way of resistance against Sin and her plans. Nori herself was able to access enough of the Absolute Solver that she saw the plan Sin had to send the disassembly drones, but still controlled herself enough afterwards to advise her husband on how to protect everyone with 3 doors. With that in mind, the more Uzi uses her powers and activates her Absolute Solver state, the more risk Sin has of Uzi returning to her normal state with enough information to defeat Sin. Now as they get to the lower levels of the camp, they begin to encounter the Sentinels, special robots designed to paralyze and destroy drones. Using a special flash, they can boot loop a drone, getting their programming caught in a perpetual reboot until shaken out of it by someone else. They will also straight up destroy any drone as well. Tessa claims that as a human she can control them, though she seems uncertain. She of course probably never encountered one before, so was only going off of second-hand knowledge, but it also felt like she was worried that the Sentinels might see past her trick to make herself seem human. When she tries to stop a Sentinel, it bites her, with a lot of blood coming out. This is what makes the Sentinels suddenly stop, as they aren't meant to attack the humans. My theory is that the real Tessa may be dead, or elsewise, this is just the blood of a random human that Sin put into a suit with the intent of tricking the Sentinels, but because it is just some blood and not a full human body, she was unsure this trick would work, and it didn't seem to. This is Copper 9. I imagine a lot of spacesuits had to be worn, and it wouldn't make sense for the Sentinels to outright attack anything in a spacesuit, especially when they seem to be there to stop the drones from doing anything that might hurt the humans, as they seem to be stationed there specifically to stop any of the Absolute Solver infected robots from getting out of the base, instead of stopping drones from actually getting into the basement. When Tessa's blood was out, however, they auto-shut down, and Tessa would of course continue to use that to her advantage. When they make it to the elevator, Uzi and N are holding hands, and Tessa and V both act really rude to Uzi. V has a history of just hating Uzi, and they're kind of stuck in a love triangle with N connecting them, so it makes sense for her to be so mean. But that emphasizes just how weird it is that the loving and caring Tessa is being so mean to Uzi by saying, "Please don't date my robot," in such a blunt tone. Uzi rightfully feels insulted and says that N is his own person. In the flashbacks, Tessa did seem to treat him like his own person, and Tessa was so nice that even the mean Jay had to lighten her mood and pretend to be nice when she was around. After seeing what Sin is capable of, Tessa may not have any sympathy for someone corrupted with the Absolute Solver, but this is a big change from how she was first presented, doing her best to take care of Sin despite how broken she was. Instead, I just think this further shows that this is Sin controlling a human-shaped suit to trick everyone into thinking that she is Tessa, because at the end of the day, that is what Sin really wanted. In episode 5, Sin is shown playing with dolls, inverting the relationship she sees in the real world where drones are the toys of the humans, so to speak, particularly in Tessa's home where they were her personal companion as opposed to just tools of service to the house. Sin wanted to become Tessa. She wanted to become the one that controlled the drones, and that's why she reshaped them for her needs and sent them to Copper 9. And now that Sin can masquerade as Tessa, she can call them her robots, something the real Tessa would probably phrase a lot more politely. With the list of names in the basement, Sin can eliminate the drones that could use those powers to stop her from completing her goals, which is the Singularity event alluded to in the show. In real life, this refers to a point where technology becomes so advanced that it irreversibly changes human history and controls them. In the show, however, that moment is long past, and this seems to refer to either the inevitable end, as Sin calls it, or a moment where Sin might perhaps control all the drones that remain, I think. And in fact, these two may even be connected. We've seen that the Absolute Solver, in its most heightened state, can create little warps of black holes, and with enough drones working together, perhaps this could be enough to rip open reality entirely. If the goal of the Absolute Solver is to destroy all things, controlling a mass of drones to create black holes all at once may be the way to do this. Of course, regardless of those plans, I could be wrong about Tessa here. If the world really was destroyed, she may have changed a lot, but she's just played so villainous in this episode. The show likes to trick us into thinking certain things that don't turn out to be true though, and we may see her take off the mask and be the same Tessa from before, just a little bit more mean than she seemed on Earth. Her suit really may have just stopped the Sentinels from seeing her as human, and she may not have been able to prove her identity because even in the suit, the air around her was too toxic, so she couldn't take it off. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you want to win an autographed print from one of your favorite Murder Drones characters, come down to our Discord server. There you can sign up with the crew bot to earn Toon tokens every time you talk in the server or leave a comment on a video, which you can use to buy entries into our upcoming raffle. If you win, you can pick one of these beautiful prints signed by their voice actors. Discord is linked in the comments down below, and I'll see you there.